Saturday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good crowd rolling into PNC Park for Game 2 of this three-game set between the Reds and the Pirates. And the Reds, after a tough loss last night, looking to even things up in the series. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us for Reds baseball. Luis Castillo started on shaky ground, got on a good roll there for a while, and now lately, Chris, it's kind of been hot or cold, not only game by game, but in some cases lately, inning by inning.
Well, it seems like the last game that he pitched is a kind of a microcosm of what he has done here so far in 2018. First inning, not so good. He allowed back-to-back home runs. First part of the year didn't do so well. And then the second or third inning, a couple of walks and a three-run double, but then began to really put it together towards the end right there. You know, this is one of the things that you really want to see Luis Castillo step up and begin to pitch like he did a little bit last year. If he's able to do that, then he erases some question marks that the Reds have going forward with the rotation. But if he continues to pitch the way he has, which is somewhat inconsistently, I mean, right now he's not providing any answers. He's only providing more questions.
Turn our attention to the Pirates starter. That'll be Ivan Nova. We've seen him a lot. The Reds really roughed him up last year. This is his first start since coming off the disabled list.
You know, sometimes when a guy comes right off his disabled list, I mean, he comes out and throws the ball extremely well. His last time out, he threw the ball extremely well against the Cubs. 5 1/3 innings, just gave up 1 earned run and struck out 8. He's a guy that relies on a heavy sinking fastball and a slider. But when he was able to get the good spot of release with that sinker, he's a tough guy to elevate and get that ball in the air.
All right, when we come back, we're going to check in with our main man. You know who that is. That's Jim Day. He's standing alongside the Reds dugout. He's raring and ready to go. Got big news on Scott Schebler when we come back.
Step up to GMC with nearly $4,000 purchase cash on an Acadia Denali when you finance through GM Financial. Saturday afternoon affair, Reds and Pirates coming up, and Scott Schebler, we've talked about it many times, has taken a liking to the leadoff spot. He and Jose Peraza have been getting on base at a pretty good clip. Check out our IGS Bringing the Energy. Peraza, 16 games of reaching base, 365 average over that time, 4 doubles. Schebler has reached safely in 15 straight games, 355 average, and 3 home runs. So we'll see if they can set the table today as we go upstairs. As Schebler is set to lead it off, Tom Berneman, Chris Welsh.
All righty, Jim Day, thank you very much. Let's take a look at Jim Riggleman's starting lineup here today. Riggleman, of course, taking over. Back on April the 19th, the Reds are 22 up, 29 down since that change for Brian Price. Scott Schebler, Tucker Barnard, Joey Votto to start it. Scooter Gennett, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker in left field today. Jose Peraza, the shortstop. Castillo will bat 8th. And Billy Hamilton back in the lineup. Injured his knee making that great catch in the 9th inning a couple of days ago in Kansas City. He was scheduled to be off yesterday anyway, but probably could have used the extra time. And on the mound for the Pirates, right-hander Ivan Nova.
Yeah, the second start that he'll make since coming off the disabled list. It was a very short stint for Nova on that list. He had a ring finger problem that he missed a start with basically and did not have to go down and pitch any rehab starts. Guy that lives and dies by a sinking fastball and a good slider.
Yeah, in fact, Nova injured that finger pitching against the Reds back on the 24th of May. He went 5 1/3, allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned. In a loss, 5-4 to Castillo and the Redlegs. Ball 1 to Schebler, and this one underway in Pittsburgh. We understand it's really, really warm back on the home front. Temperatures in the mid-90s. They have the big Luke Bryan, Sam Hunt concert at Great American Ballpark tonight. Here's a dribbler up through the middle. Going to be a tough play, but Harrison has a strong arm, and that's a good play by the University of Cincinnati Bearcat, Josh Harrison.
A combination of 2 strengths for Harrison right there. Number 1, getting to the ball, and then being able, when you get rid of it quickly, put something on it.
Nova in his career has made 10 starts against the Reds, a 3-7 record, an ERA of higher than 4.5. 0-1 we mentioned this year. 0-4 with an ERA over 7 last year. One hopper right back to the mound, and Nova quickly retires the first 2. Been a long time since this young man has picked up a win against the Reds. Look at that opponent's batting average against him in his last 6 outings, all losses. Reds at 25 up, 44 down. The Pirates 1 game under 500, 34 and 25. Last night was the first time the Pirates had won back-to-back games. They won the final game in Arizona, the only game they won against the Diamondbacks on Wednesday. First time they've won back-to-back games in 4 weeks. They've only won 8 of their last 26 since they were a season high 9 games over 500 in the middle of May. 1 ball, 1 strike to Joey Votto. Driven down the left field line and slicing foul and out of play. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Joey Votto. Take a look at the Pirates on defense behind Nova, presented by Ford. Dickerson, Marte, Meadows, a young rookie, back in the lineup. National League Rookie of the Month in May. Moran, Mercer, Harrison, Bell, third to first, and Diaz in place of Cervelli. He has done a real good job backing up Cervelli. Again, a 2-2 to Joey. Ball 3. Nova has excellent control, as Chris mentioned earlier.
Well, he normally has a couple of different fastballs that he throws. He likes to get the ball down for the most part, but he does throw a four-seamer. About 1 out of every 4 fastballs that he throws. Curveball and a changeup are his off-speed complements.
A 2-out walk issue to Votto.
You know, with Ivan Nova, if you just go simply by the batting averages against on certain pitches that he throws, by far his best and most effective pitch is that curveball. But he really doesn't push it, doesn't throw it a lot. It's only about 18 to 20% of his overall pitches.
Now Scooter Gennett, the batter. Hit hard into left field, but right at Dickerson, and that will retire the side. Luis Castillo set for start number 15 when we return. That is pretty cool stuff. Let's take a look at the Pirate batting order under their manager Clint Hurdle. Josh Harrison, Austin Meadows, Starling Marte. It'll be Moran, Dickerson, Bell in the middle. Diaz, Mercer, Nova against Luis Castillo. 4 up, 7 down. An ERA at 5.79. It's hard to believe that earned run average and some of the other numbers. You were digging through a lot of those before the game today, compared to the Luis Castillo we saw come to the big leagues for the first time a year ago.
Well, you know, a lot of it, I think, is the way he started off this year. He just got off to such a lousy start in his first 6 starts of the season. And then he began to put it together, and he's kind of fallen back on tough times. So it's always going to be up and down for every middle-of-the-road type pitcher. But, I mean, if he's going to establish himself as a legitimate every 5th-day starter in a rotation, you've got to have a little more consistency.
Looked like Winker got a bad jump on that ball. He actually went back. And by the time he tried to recover, he made a diving attempt, able to smother it, keep it in front of him. It'll be a single for Josh Harrison.
Well, they moved Jesse Winker back and forth, really not all over the outfield, but certainly the different corner positions. And, you know, with a lot of white shirts in the stands, the light, the daylight, sometimes a little difficult to pick the ball up off the bat. Looks like he got a slow start.
Winker now give chase to this one over near the line and won't get there. Harrison read that all the way, and he coasted into third on the two-base hit by Austin Meadows.
Harrison knew early on what the rest of us weren't sure about, whether that ball was going to continue to slice away from Winker or stay fair and just be elusive for him to be able to get. He's got a long way to go to get there. And he just runs out of room before that ball drops in front of him down the left field line. So already a peck of trouble out here for Luis Castillo.
Second and third, nobody out, and the batter Starling Marte. Marte has been lethal this year, batting with runners in scoring position. Among the best in baseball. .326 batter. 10 hits and 13 RBIs in his last 20 at-bats in these situations. So he is white hot right now. But nothing new for him. He hit nearly .330 in the same spots last year. They've been playing that song on the organ here forever. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Here's a 1-1. Fastball runs up and in. 2 balls and a strike on Marte.
You know, if you're Luis Castillo right now, you're thinking about damage control. The chances of getting out of the inning with no runs at all, not very good. So you almost concede the runner at third base, Harrison. You see him there. But the guy at second is the guy you want to strand.
Well, the ground ball will advance both runners. Harrison to the plate. On to third goes Meadows, and it's 1-0 Pittsburgh after 3 batters. One of our storylines presented by Elkanel, and this is what, Chris, you were referring to and we talked about in the very opening of our game coverage. The rough start by Castillo. It started to look like he was getting things together, and now a step backwards for this young man.
Yeah, the first 6 starts, really, that was before the changeover in pitching coach. Dammy Darwin comes in, tries to change his arm slot a little bit, get him to use a few more fastballs, 4-seamers, rather than falling in love with a 2-seamer that, you know, you kind of try to make the ball move. But it's up and down as it normally is for young pitchers. I still think the biggest thing for Castillo is to be able to use the plate north and south rather than try to live on the edges all the time and continue to miss, you know, 3 to 4 inches off the plate. Sometimes the ball never even looks like a strike.
Colin Miranda batter. Reds bring the infield in with a runner at third and 1 out. And Castillo has fallen behind the Pittsburgh third baseman. 2 balls and no strikes. Moran, the main piece of the Garrett Cole trade, coming over from the Astros organization, and has worked his way into being the everyday Pirate third baseman. Wrestled that job away from David Freese. 3-0.
Tell you one thing, Billy Hamilton in center field, you know, he's playing very shallow against Moran. Contrary to what they're doing in left field with Jesse Winker playing very deep, respecting opposite field power from Moran. I'm not sure he's got that much thump going the other way. Kind of what I was referring to before. Maybe he didn't want anything of Moran right there. I don't know why, but you know, you just continue to kind of just miss away. He's got good enough stuff to get that ball over the plate and be able to elevate it and then sink it, but always over the dish one way or another. And if you just stay out of that hot spot, you know, from the waist to your thighs, he'd be a lot better off, I believe, just being a little bit more aggressive.
So the middle infield backs up to double play depth, and here is Cory Dickerson having an excellent first season with the Pirates. .306 batter, 5 home runs, 32 runs batted in, has 16 doubles. And like many of these Reds pitchers, not just the young ones, but really all of them, pitch efficiency has been an issue for Castillo. Well, I like Romano and Malley and even Matt Harvey since joining the regular rotation. You're seeing regular outings of all these pitchers, 5 innings, right around 90 and 100 pitches through 5. Same with Harvey last night.
You know, it seems like you're seeing that more and more around baseball, though. It's just not the Reds pitchers on that staff that are doing it. It seems everybody trying to live on the corners a little bit more, staying away from contact more than ever before, knowing that, you know, if you give your team 5 innings, you're getting a slap on the bat and you're going to bring the bullpen in.
Hammered down the right field line and hooking foul, and a good thing for Castillo and the Reds. Well, Castillo is averaging better than a strikeout per inning. He could use strike 3 in this at bat with runners on the corners and 1 out, ahead of Dickerson at 1 and 2. Hook foul again. Dickerson has worn out the Reds so far this year, a .387 batter. But there's strike 3, and that's a strikeout Castillo was looking for. 2 away in the inning.
Yeah, he got him out ahead a couple of pitches in a row there. Dickerson pulled the ball foul, and then he sped him up with a fastball and threw it right by him. 95 on the radar gun and elevated, and Dickerson could not hold back. That's a big strikeout. Should be really a confidence builder for Castillo to be able to get an out like that against a tough left-handed hitter when you have to. Like I say, if you can limit this to 1 run, you'll be doing a pretty good job.
Saw that note. Castillo coming off a career-high 10 strikeouts in his 6 innings. That loss against the Cardinals his last time out. But one more tough out to get in Josh Bell. Yes, a slumping Josh Bell, but a dangerous hitter. Bell, the runner-up to the Dodger first baseman Cody Bellinger for the National League's Jackie Robinson Award last year as Rookie of the Year. One ball and 2 strikes. Later tonight, Cubs and the Cardinals will get together again. Chicago walloping Michael Wacha in St. Louis last night. Milwaukee hammered Philadelphia last night, and they're just underway today in Miller Park. Bottom of the 1st inning. We're in the bottom of the 1st. Runners on the corners, 2 out. And a 1-2 to Bell. Roller down to Suarez, and that'll do it. So he does what Chris Wells suggested he try to do. He gives up just the 1. And it's 1-0 Pittsburgh at the end of an inning. again today through Father's Day tomorrow, we're participating in the Home Run Challenge. Every home run in this game raises money for prostate cancer research. We're over $2 million since the 1st of June. And if you're able to make a pledge, we invite you to do so at homerunchallenge.org. We've had Michael Milken with us up here in the booth many, many times through the years.
We have indeed.
Sorry we're going to miss him this year. He was the one that started that Home Run Challenge. The prostate cancer survivor himself, and every penny that is raised goes directly to research. No administrative costs, things like that. Right to the research on this Father's Day weekend. Reds are down a run. They bat against Nova here in inning number 2. Suarez to lead it off, followed by Winker and Peraza. Suarez 1 of 3 in the series opener. Had a hit, also drew a walk.
Well, you can just see what Nova's trying to do, which is just stay down around the bottom of the zone. Really the good news for the Reds and Suarez, he's a very good hitter in that bottom part of the strike zone. He's become very adept at hitting the breaking ball down there. And I would say that he's probably due for a slider here any moment, although Nova calls his breaking pitch more of a curveball. Usually the difference between curveballs and sliders is the velocity of the pitch.
Look out down there. Billy Hatcher still has those quick feet.
This is Hawaiian shirt day here at PNC Park.
Did you get one?
I did not. You know, Jim Day, though, would look good in one down the camera well.
He looked better than in that coat and tie down there sitting outside, I can tell you that.
Getting kind of humid down there.
Fly ball down the right field line. But, you know, that's the one thing about Jim Day, among many things. He'll never complain about it. Not one time.
Well, they had Hawaiian shirt day while we were out in San Diego. Gave away Padre shirts. They were all kind of dark blue.
Did you get one?
I did get one of those, yes. I've given it away already, but I got one for a Padre friend of mine.
It's very nice of you.
He couldn't believe it. I told him when it cost $20.
And then you charged him for it? Is that what you did?
Oh, he's a very close friend.
Yeah, okay. That is smoked down the left field line and hooking foul. Mercy, you said he might jump on one here, and that he did. Three balls and 2 strikes on Suarez. Second to Trevor Story for the most runs batted in among all National Leaguers. Story now with 52, Suarez 49. You have Freddie Freeman also with 49 and Scooter with 48. Oh my, what a play made by a fellow in the first row of the upper deck. Oh my, scary stuff, but quite a play. This will be the 12th pitch in this at bat. And this ball is launched into left center field, hit a long way, and into the bullpen it goes. Suarez ties the game in 1 with a home run. Boy, you called that one, big boy.
Well, I'll tell you, you just saw a rarity in baseball. which is within the same at bat. A hitter hit a ball foul for a home run, which is what he did earlier on, and then actually follows it up with a fair home run. This one, a wallop job. And if you watch the outfielders go after this ball, you get a pretty good indication how well the ball's flying out of here today. Because the left fielder Dickerson kind of cut straight across towards the gap, and then he's thinking that ball staying in the ballpark. No way. Right into the Reds bullpen. It's a deep part of the yard.
Sure is. That's where it jets out. Actually, in this ballpark, one of the few, it might be the only one, where left center field is deeper than straightaway center field. Right in front of the bullpen there, it jets out. You see to 410 feet. Straightaway center is 399. And Winker puts down the bunt. Noble will get there, but can't find the handle as he goes to pick it up. So a bunt single for Winker as they put the shift on him. Good play.
I think it's a great play. And I just don't understand why more guys don't take advantage of it. He does right, too. He waits in the box, lays the bunt down, and then he runs. I mean, the whole idea right there is you lay down a good enough bunt, hard enough down the left side of the infield, that you could walk to first base. So Winker follows up a home run with a little bit of small ball.
Now Jose Peraza, coming off a really solid game here last night, had 2 hits, was on base 3 times. 1-1 game. Runner at first, nobody out in the Cincinnati second inning. You made note before the game today. It was interesting that, you know, when the Reds made the Johnny Cueto trade to Kansas City, they got in return Brandon Finnegan, Cody Reed, and a left-handed pitcher named John Lamb. Some of you remember him, a short time with the Reds. Harrison gloves this one in foul ground. I think it's certainly beating the odds that when you watch the stuff of all 3 of those pitchers, Finnegan, Reed, and Lamb, that Lamb would be the only one of the 3 pitching in the major leagues on this June Saturday. He will be starting today. In fact, is starting already in the second inning, pitching for the Angels of Anaheim in Oakland.
Right now that game is 0-0. A lot of perseverance by Lamb, because when he got cut loose here, I think he went to Tampa and pitched there for a little bit in their minor leagues, and then caught on with the Angels, and it took him a long time. Rehabbed his arm and his back. You know, he had some major back issues from an automobile accident he had years ago. But sticking with it has paid off. I thought the nickname that you had developed for John Lamb was quite right on the money.
What is that?
The struggling French artist.
Yeah.
Well, he did. He had the long hair, you know, and sometimes he put it in a little ponytail, and
he had the little
yeah,
whatever you call that, soul patch.
Well, kind of a modified goatee.
But unkept.
Certainly a Franco look.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And so, yeah, it's the first thing I thought of. Still think of it. Jim Day had a good nickname for him.
What was that?
Is Jim on the microphone right now? Or is he off?
Yeah,
Jim,
right here.
You had a nickname for John Lamb?
Well, he looked like Bo Duke.
You mean a Dukes of Hazzard?
Dukes of Hazzard, yeah.
It's a good one. Castillo stabs at that pitch and missed it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Somebody in that Reds dugout screaming out to Castillo as if to give him instructions on how to bunt, because he did not look comfortable those first 2 times. And this time they just had him swing and miss. Poorly done. Poorly done. 2 away in the inning.
You know, I'm not so sure that pitchers really understand the value of being able to put a bunt down. I mean the monetary value of it. If you get a runner over in the scoring position and then you get a subsequent base hit to drive them in, I mean, it ties your game up. Maybe it's a go-ahead run, and you end up getting a win in that ball game, and then you take that win to the arbitration table next year, and it's probably worth at the minimum, you know, $50,000. That win. So what is a little component inside that win that you had control over? Not only holding the opposition to low amount of runs, but helping yourself and your team get a run. Now there's enough motivation right there to get the bunt down.
Billy Hamilton back in the lineup. Quickly behind 0-2. Billy, a 190 batter. Well, the runner's going to get into scoring position after the wild pitch by Nova, so on to second goes Winker. So now a chance to break this 1-1 tie if Hamilton can pick up a 2-out hit.
Wild pitch.
A lot of boats out on the rivers here today. Of course, Allegheny and the Monongahela coming together, forming the mighty Ohio. That's only about what, not even a third of a mile, quarter of a mile, as you go from the right field corner and take a right is where they come together. The confluence, they refer to it. One ball and 2 strikes on Billy. Got him swinging to retire the side. But the Reds tie the game. The Eugenio Suarez, RBI number 50 on the year. How about that? Spectacular catch in the 9th inning in Kansas City Wednesday night. Watch your knee, bam, right into that wall. Slow to get up, stayed in the game for one more out. And the Reds walking out of there with a 7-0 lead. Hamilton was scheduled to have the day off anyway last night. So it Gave him an extra 24 hours to get that knee feeling a little bit better. They call them 5-star catches. He has 3 of them. And of course, all 3 guys are in this game, or at least in uniform today. Marte in the lineup, Polanco is not. Now, is that made up of, when you're doing the 3 stars and the 4 stars and the 5 stars, is that where you have the U.S. judge, the Russian judge, the Chinese judge, and the French judge? Because what determines a 5-star catch? Is there any criteria? I mean, with all of
I imagine in since it's a StatCast type of a thing, that there's an algorithm involved.
Sure. Understand it's based on catch probability.
But I would think that a defensive play like that would really, it's like almost in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
To some people, it may be a 5-star catch, and other people say, well, it's a 2.5-star.
That's why
catch.
I'm saying. I mean, you know, you got the Russian judge giving Mary Lou Retton, you know, an 8.5.
When everyone else gave her a 10.
That's right. Or Nadia Comaneci. What a running play made in right field by Shebler. Now, is that a 5-star catch? We wait on the Russian judge, the French judge, the American judge.
Well, I can tell you what the Castillo judge would say. Absolutely, it's a 5-star one. Because Elias Diaz thinks he's got a double. That ball slicing away from Scott Shebler, but boy, is he fast and athletic. Played center field last night. He's in right field today.
Outstanding play by Shebler. Here's Mercer, among the hottest hitters in his Pirate lineup right now. Went 1 for 3 in the game last night, but of late has a hit 5 in a row. 8 of his last 9 to the tune of a .380 batting average for Jordy Mercer. Well, they have a great sound system in this ballpark, don't they?
They do.
Man, is it good. Not too loud. Perfect. Crystal clear.
Well, this ballpark, one of those that's always rated among the top in baseball for, you know, fan enjoyment. They got a great view over the river. You get the skyline of Pittsburgh from sitting just about anywhere in the stands in the second level or above. If you're down around the box seats closest to the field, you really can't see the skyline. Good crowd today.
I think you and I need to pick up a couple of those Hawaiian shirts along with Jesse Jackson. Maybe wear them to dinner tonight.
Good idea.
As long as they don't have Pirates on them. I mean, if they're just those colors, that'd be all right. Here's ball 4 to Mercer. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
So Castillo with nobody on and 1 out in the inning walks a number 8 batter. Already 2 walks today for Castillo. 31 on the year in 74 innings. And now Noble will try and bunt the runner over. And he will do so successfully for the first time this year.
Well, he had 9 of them last year, so he's pretty proficient at it. Of course, you have to remember that prior to coming over here, he was in the American League exclusively in the beginning of his career.
Second baseman, Josh Harrison.
Former Princeton High School Viking Josh Harrison then stayed right in town, of course, to star at the University of Cincinnati collegiately. He had a single into left field leading off the game and scored the Pirates' lone run. We're tied at 1, but the go-ahead run leads in scoring position with 2 outs here in inning number 2. Dangerous count here to a dangerous hitter, Josh Harrison. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 breaking ball caught the outside corner.
It's about as good a 2-0 pitch as you're going to be able to throw. In fact, that's the kind of pitch you really throw when you've got 2 strikes on them. Love to be able to run that off and find that release point over and over again. Also shows you a little bit about Josh Harrison, though. I mean, he didn't even flinch when he got that 2-0 breaking ball on the corner. I mean, he had shrunk that strike zone down to a spot really basically where that last pitch was, and maybe the best fastball of the day there for Castillo at 97.
Going into short right field to get it is Jeanette. So a nice job of working around the walk. We've played 2 and we're tied at 1. West Virginia watching the game today on Suddenlink, today's affiliate of the game.
Nice.
I'll be making my way down to West Virginia tomorrow afternoon, going down to Morgantown.
There are a lot of folks here in this ballpark today from West Virginia. Of course, some of that is Reds country, and other parts of West Virginia, Pirates country.
That's right. go see our main man Huggy tomorrow.
You and Huggy always
Huggy.
very tight.
Our son, he loves going down there to basketball camp, to Coach Huggins' camp in Morgantown. They run a great operation down there. There's a fly ball to center field. Off the bat of Shebler to open the third inning of this 1-1 game. It's one thing about Huggy, and I know he has a ton of fans back in Cincinnati. And of course, you know, those folks who wrote for Xavier, maybe they're not such big fans of Huggy, but one thing you can never deny, I mean, he is a man of the people. Never forgot where he came from. Always returns calls, whatever the case may be. He's a big leaguer. One and 0. Swung on and fouled out of play, and I guess he got the big stud basketball player out of Moeller. I can't remember the young man's name. He missed a lot of this year with an ankle injury. Came back and played in the state championship game, but he will be playing for Bob Huggins this coming winter out of Moeller High. Two balls and a strike to Tucker Barnhart. Miles McBride is a young man's name. Thank you, Josh Hall, our producer. Actually, he has one more year left at Moeller, and then will play for Coach Huggins a year from now. 3 balls and a strike. Coming in to get it is Dickerson for the second out here in the Reds' third. Now Nova will turn his attention to Votto, whom he walked in the opening inning. Reds have 1 run, a couple of hits. They've had 3 base runners so far today against Nova. The big blow, of course, the solo home run by Eugenio Suarez, leading off the second inning to tie this game up. Milwaukee now in the third, a 1-0 lead over Philadelphia. And with John Lamb, 3 shutout innings today in his 2018 Angels debut and Major League debut. This is in the air to left center field. Will be handled by Marte as he waves off Dickerson. And a 1-2-3 third. First perfect afternoon inning for either pitcher.
4-0 win. Struck out only 3, walked 3, but recorded 15 ground ball outs, 9 flyouts. It was win number 211 of his career. He'd go on to win 100 more games. The Hall of Famer is one and only no-hitter came in a Reds uniform.
Boy, and what a guy he was on top of being an incredible pitcher. And still is. I mean, he's had some health issues at his home out in California. Well, we heard he's been making a turn for the better of late. So that is great news because,
sure
man,
is.
you talk about an incredible sense of humor. What a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I didn't really hang around him very much socially, but I can tell you as a competitor, I don't think you'd find a more vicious competitor than Tom Seaver.
I mean, you go look up some of his numbers. You know, you and I were talking today with my dad. We were all having lunch together before the ball game about the anniversary of Nolan Ryan's 13-inning complete game.
Yeah, now he didn't have a complete game actually. The guy that he pitched against, it was 2 days ago, I think, back in 1974, on the June the 14th. It was Louis Tiant. Tiant hung around into the 15th inning to pick up the loss.
Line drive and looking into those white shirts. Winker able to make the play.
In a 4-3 game, he only struck out 5 in 14 and a third innings. Now, Nolan Ryan went only 13 innings that day. And, you know, they didn't keep pitch counts back then. So there have been rough estimates, you know, based on how many pitches per inning he normally pitches and so on. The estimates for Ryan for that day were, get this, in one game, 235 pitches.
In one game.
Yeah. So even if he was ultra efficient, you're talking about maybe 190 pitches. I mean, some of these guys don't throw 235 pitches in a month.
That's not an exaggeration.
And then he went out and 4 days later made his next start.
Yeah, that's when they had 4-man rotations.
And even though he did not get the win, the Angels ended up besting Louis Tiant, who picked up the loss, pitched only 14 1/3.
Well, Jim Day made reference about the back-to-back no-hitters, you know, that Johnny Vandermeer threw. We were celebrating the anniversary of that yesterday. There's a fly by Marte to right field, 2 down in the inning, and how he said that'll never be done again. I'm not so sure the odds aren't just as long for ever seeing another baseball game again where one starter goes 14 1/3 and the other goes 13 innings.
Yeah.
So now the batter is Moran with 2 down and nobody on in a 1-1 game. Castillo could use a quick and efficient 1-2-3 third. And 2/3 of the way home. Reds will wrap up this series here tomorrow afternoon. Reds Live gets underway at 1 o'clock. Our game coverage at 1:30, and then the Reds will be home for an extended stand after a day off Monday. The Detroit Tigers come to town. Followed by a 4-game set from the Cubbies. The Reds will leave for just 3 and then come right back home for 7 with the Brewers and the White Sox. Straightaway center field, hit a long way by Moran, and the Pirates lead 2-1.
Now, some people would call this just about a perfectly swung home run. I mean, hit it almost to dead center field. Got a fastball that was pretty much right down the center of the plate and stayed right behind it.
Now this ball into right center field hit a long way. And that's off the wall. Off the bat of Dickerson. And he's in with a double after the home run from Moran.
Now, Dickerson had 33 doubles last year, and he's got 16 or 17 now in this one. So right about the halfway mark, he is right on schedule.
First baseman, Josh Bell.
So we were thinking after the first two had been retired to begin this inning that Castillo might be able to get through it quickly. Since in home run double, and now he faces Josh Bell. Bell left 2 on with a ground out to Suarez in the first inning.
I'll tell you, the ball is just really jumping here this afternoon. I mean, you can almost tell by the way it comes off the bat. It's not a crack. It's kind of like a click.
Straight away center field. Hamilton there to get it. But Moran breaks a tie with a 2-out solo home run to center. 2-1 Pittsburgh at the end of 3. It's baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. All right, Scooter Gennett to lead things off. Reds down to Nova and the Pirates 2-1 after the tie-breaking home run in the just completed third inning by the third baseman Colin Moran. Suarez on deck. He homered his first time up. Sun playing a little peekaboo in and out through ever increasing clouds here in Pittsburgh on this Saturday afternoon. We've been blessed with some great weather though on this road trip. You couldn't ask for any better in Kansas City, and the same is held true here in Pittsburgh for now the third day, including the off day on Thursday. Just perfect. Understand it is really, really warm back on the home front today. But it's summertime, right, Mr. Welsh? Summertime.
That's what usually happens.
Hot fun in the summertime. Was that not Sly and the Family Stone? Hot fun in the summertime? Come on, Jesse. Jesse's like my wife. I turn around, I ask him one question. Just one.
He couldn't have even nodded
he didn't
for
even
you.
nod. Nothing. And he is the music man. I'm pretty sure that's right. I don't even think you have to look it up. Swinging a foul ball on a play. Two and two on Gennett. We'll do it again. Nova throws the left foot in the air and comes to the plate, and it's right back into shallow center. This will fall in a base hit. Well, the 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star Ballot is now open, and exclusively you can get it online. Catch all the excitement of the 89th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July the 17th. That'll be live on Fox. Of course, the All-Star Game this year will be in the nation's capital. Suarez smokes one into center field, but caught by Marte.
It's funny, Suarez may have hit that ball every bit as hard as he did the home run ball, but because the launch angle was a little different, I mean, he hit that one actually too square. Came right off on the bat, almost straight, and it went straight into the glove of the center fielder.
Jesse Winker had a bunt single his first time up. Now with a runner on base, the defense played a little bit differently. They had the big shift on Winker the last time. That's why he put down a bunt. Scooter, one successful stolen base attempt so far this year. 3 balls, no strikes on Jesse Winker. Taking all the way, 3-1. Big hack at a 3-1 fastball from Nova at 94 miles per hour, and Winker dumps it foul over the screen. So Scooter taking a long look over at Billy Hatcher. Will they put Jeanette in motion on a 3-2 pitch? We're about to find out. Good lead over there for Scooter, held on by Bell. He is running. Stung to left field, but another loud out. Back to back. Sharply hit balls, one by Suarez, this one by Winker, but one to center, one to left, 2 down in the inning.
For a guy that throws a lot of sinking fastballs up there, Ivan Nova today had 2 ground balls to start the ball game, and every other out since then has either been a strikeout or a fly ball out. Fly ball / line drive out. I guess any way you can get them.
Jose Peraza settles in. He popped up to the second baseman Harrison, his first at bat. Boy, Diaz had no chance, and into scoring position goes Jeanette. That's the second wild pitch of the game thrown by Nova.
I mean, this is about as wild as it gets right here. It's a breaking ball number 1, and then it hits about 6 feet away from home plate. And if you're Diaz, you just throw your glove up there and you hope the ball finds it.
And now they're going to intentionally walk Peraza with a pitcher batting in the number 8 hole. That's an interesting move right there, I think, by Hurdle, because we've talked about this many times before, and you'll talk to a lot of managers, I mean really good managers, guys that know a lot about baseball, that will have very, very different views of a play like that at this juncture of the game. Now in the 6th inning, 7th inning, whatever the case may be, most universally would agree that you would do that. Of course, that late in the game, a pitcher's probably not going to hit.
Whoa!
How about that?
They didn't plan on that. That was a ball that really Bell should have taken all the way by himself. He used his glove and a little bit of a fancy highlight cesta type pitch off here to the pitcher covering, but he's got plenty of time with Castillo running. Even though he's running, he can still field that ball and get to the line. There's no reason to have to do it in such a fancy fashion, and it costs an out. So maybe the Reds can take advantage of this one.
Well, they give the error to Nova.
Yeah, see, that's not right, because even though the throw looked good, because it got there so late, the ball and the pitcher were at the bag at the same time. So he's trying to catch the ball with one eye and keep the other eye on where his foot is going. But getting back to your point about, you know, the debate as to whether you walk that guy or not, it could be something to do with the fact that Jose Peraza this year is hitting almost .350 against the Pirates. So maybe Hurdle's thinking, you know, maybe the odds are that we're probably going to get this guy out here, but every time I turn around, anecdotally, it seems like he gets a base hit. Like last night.
That's right.
Had a good night.
I'll tell you, as a guy who's done nothing more than coach Little League and youth basketball, I just go crazy over plays like the one we just saw. I mean, I don't really know how major league managers do it. I really don't. These guys have worked their whole lives on the fundamentals to try and make it to the highest level of their craft. And then so frequently we see style over substance, and I don't know how the managers deal with it.
Well, sometimes they deal with it by covering up for the player.
Well, frequently that's the case. I mean, that's a play Josh Bell either, as you said, take it himself or put the ball in your right hand and make a nice feed to the pitcher before he gets to the bag instead of the glove feed. Golly day. And I know there are 1,000 of you saying, give it up, old man. You know, give me a break. It was a perfect throw. You know, he had it right there in his glove.
Well, you know,
He knows.
You learn the fundamentals growing up in Cincinnati, and that's the way you learn the game in the Queen City and the surrounding area there. Period. That's probably the way they're playing the game out there in Portsmouth, Ohio today in the Gene Bennett Classic, the wrap-up of that tournament. They had some teams from all over the place. In fact, Al Oliver, former Pittsburgh Pirate great, has been attending just about every game out there, and they're down to the semifinals at Gene Bennett Field.
Scoop.
What a guy.
What a guy, and what a hitter. What a hitter. 1-2 to Hamilton.
Yeah, I don't think I played with Scoop one year and then played against him several other years. I never saw him make that highlight cesta attempt, and his nickname was Scoop. I mean, if he couldn't do it, who could?
That's right. Well said. I guarantee you, if he took a break from watching the games over the ballpark today, and he's dialed into the game right now, he's not happy about the way that was played. Well, let's see if Billy can make him pay for the error. Reds are down a run, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hamilton struck out his first time up. Let's see what Bell does here. He'll wave off the pitcher, and the inning is over. Reds leave them loaded. They've stranded 5 so far today.
Marine Corps from 1974 to 77 and started the Injured Marine Fund charity to help those at Balboa Hospital in San Diego. He's worked with Barry Zito's Strike Out for Troops charity to send injured soldiers to spring training in Arizona, and currently is the chief legal officer for Camp Pendleton and other Marine bases in the Southwest. Now this duo, you may remember these names because Trevor Williams, it was quite the emotional day back on September 7th, 2016. He got his first big league win over St. Louis, and Dad Richard was in the stands. In 2015, Richard was given 60 to 90 days to live with stage 4 lymphoma. An aggressive treatment plan, a bunch of chemo, spinal taps, radiation, and after the game, it was much more than his first major league victory as he handed him the game ball, and hugs and emotion and tears all around. And it was a miracle because Richard Williams overcame that cancer and today is cancer-free after being given 60 to 90 days to live. So an American hero and also a cancer survivor, and what a day that was back in 2016.
It's great stuff, Jim Day. Great stuff. Happy Father's Day, and early happy Father's Day to all of you out there today. We talk so frequently about Mother's Day, rightfully so. That's the most important. This ball in the air to deep left field, and the Pirates have added to their lead. A home run by Diaz.
Diaz is really finding the home run stroke here this year. He's now 27 years old, a backup catcher to Francisco Cervelli, so he doesn't get all that many at-bats, fewer than 90 on the year, but this is home run number 5 on a high heater. That's a little bail and wail right there. He had 1 home run last year, and the one he had last year was the first of his career.
Tell you what, though, we brought up earlier about that duo of Diaz and Francisco Cervelli. They've combined to produce the best batting average and the best on base percentage among all catching tandems in Major League Baseball this year. And their 48 RBIs are second only to the New York Yankees. And that's Sanchez who's racking up all those RBIs. So that's been a good duo. Really good. I mean, when you put in perspective for a second, and this is no shot at anybody, but I mean, we all feel like Tucker Barnhart's having a nice season, right? They moved him into the 2-hole, and he's been swinging a bat, good on base percentage, that kind of thing. Now he hadn't had a chance to drive in a lot of runs because he was batting near the bottom of the order early in the year. But consider that Barnhart has 20 RBIs. That duo now has 48 of Cervelli and Diaz. That's pretty good. So now the batter is the pitcher Nova with 1 out, 1 in, 3-1 Pittsburgh in front, batting here in the last of the 4th inning. One ball, 2 strikes. Gone swinging is Nova. Second strikeout of the game by Castillo, and 2 outs in the inning. We invite you to book your next group outing in one of the Staples triple play suites of the ballpark. Enjoy the game from your private climate controlled indoor space. You can step outside, watch the action from the patio. Very nice. And your game ticket includes a catered buffet and drinks. Book today at reds.com/groups. Third time to the plate already today, and we're in the 4th inning for the leadoff batter Josh Harrison. 1 of 2. Breaking ball in there, strike. He singled, scored, and popped up to Scooter Gennett. This Pirate team trying to get, its feedback under him a little bit. They were off to such a great start. We brought up earlier in the middle of May. They were 9 games over 500. And then hit an ugly stretch until these last couple of days. There's a fly ball down the left field line, and Winker trying to get to it, runs out of room. But they lose 18 of their next 26. And when you consider they had a closer that blew 4 straight save chances. I mean, if you cash in on 3 of those 4, things don't look so bad.
Really kind of interesting to watch Josh Harrison at the plate. He's a guy that has a little bit of an open stance when he starts his setup, but then he'll step really right towards the first base bag, really close it up. And that's why it's difficult to get that ball far enough away from him, but yet still be on the plate to have him have a bad swing.
Home run in the inning by Diaz, and the 4-3-1 Pittsburgh.
Transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Don't forget, beginning on Thursday night, the Cubbies come to town for a 4-game weekend series. You can be there as low as $12. It's presented by Kroger. For tickets, log on to Reds.com. That'll be a 7:10 start time Thursday and Friday, 4:10 game Saturday, 1:10 Sunday. The Tigers, those two games, it's a night game on Tuesday night at 7:10, a day game 12:35 Wednesday to start the homestand. High towering fly ball off the bat of Shebler, and it is off the wall. Just missing a home run out there in right field is Shebler to start the Cincinnati fifth, trailing by 2.
About as close as you can get to a home run there in right field without it being one. Just kind of a hanging breaking ball right there that shoots straight up off the bat of Scott Shebler, and probably about 6 feet from going out of here into the stands.
You see, it's quite odd even from here when you look out there, because you have that row of seats just above the scoreboard, but there is a screen in front of those seats where that's not a home run. You have to go back over the top of that where you have a little, you know, advertisement line there. There you see it, high mark, and then the seats beyond that would be the home run. You can't tell there's a screen there when you sit up here. So the Reds down by 2. The tying run to the plate, Barnhart, and he fouls it off. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, this kind of sounds funny, but I've always thought that a leadoff home run can be a rally killer. Now, you're guaranteed to get 1 run, yes, but it's a lot different now for Nova. Tight ball game, 2 runs. He's got a runner at second base. He's going to have to pitch the entire inning now out of the stretch, unless the Reds can, you know, clear the bases somehow. And it's just more stress on the pitcher that way. You're just more prone to bigger innings when you have a runner on base rather than a clean slate, you know, with the second batter of the inning up. Now, would I rather have a home run than a double? Absolutely.
Sure.
I think you know what I'm saying.
I do.
I think any pitcher out there, if they know they're going to give up 1 run in the inning, why not with just 1 swing of the bat? Don't stress me out by Making me look back to second base, see how big the lead is. Shortstop jockeying back and forth.
Short right field, playable for Meadows, and staying put at second base, Shebler. Tell you, John Lamb's pitching a pretty good ball game today for the Angels.
What's the story with him now?
5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts, and 1 walk.
Good for him. He's a pretty good guy. A little different.
Yeah, but you're right. He is a pleasant guy. So now the batter, Joey Votto. He has walked and flied out to left field. Strike 1 to Joey. Votto closing in on a milestone in his career tomorrow if he's in the lineup. It will be 1,500 career appearances. Interesting to know that with it occurring against the Pirates, that's the opponent he has faced the most in his major league career since being brought up. It's very interesting to look at Votto's numbers through his first 1,500 games of the major league first basemen who were inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Guys like Jeff Bagwell, Ernie Banks, Rod Carew, Orlando Cepeda, George Kelly, Harmon Killebrew, Willie McCovey, Johnny Mize, Eddie Murray, Tony Perez, Jim Thomas, Jim Thome. Very, very interesting. Batting average, Votto second best of the group, second only to Rod Carew. Boy, Carew, a career .335 batter his first 1,500 games. There's a fly ball to the left. That's out number 2. Now, Votto's not going to be anywhere in the same galaxy with most of these other first basemen. And Carew's kind of the guy you take out a little bit, a very different kind of a hitter than most of the guys on this list. But in RBIs, Votto's not in the same galaxy. Of course, he's, the top 5 in walks. He's middle of the pack, less than maybe middle of the pack in terms of number of hits. He's certainly the bottom 4 or 5 in terms of home runs, but when you get into on-base percentage, I mean, he's right there near the top, trailing Frank Thomas would be the only one of that group I mentioned. Slugging percentage, middle of the pack or less. I tell you, there's some guys that have put up some incredible numbers when you go back and look at the careers.
First base has always been known as the spot for your offense, and you say take Carew out. Rod Carew played 19 seasons in the major leagues. The only season he was not an all-star was his very last year when he was 39 years old. He had 280 that year. He was an all-star every other season, 18 years. 7 times he won a batting title. I mean,
yeah, I wasn't taking him out of the mix to dismiss his career. Please, no one at home think that.
He ended up with over 1,000 runs batted in.
There are a lot of people that will tell you that after Ted Williams, there are a lot of very smart baseball people that will tell you after Ted Williams that Rod Carew is the greatest hitter that ever played the game.
Guy could hit.
Really hit.
And he was an expert at setting up pitchers.
I've heard Joe Morgan talk about Rod Carew on and on and on and on. Who wants this one? That'll be Harrison, and that'll end the inning. So after a leadoff double, Shebler never moves. Middle of the 5th. A 3-1 Pittsburgh lead. Fox Sports Ohio, and of course streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Swing into summer, presented by Click It or Ticket. Austin Meadows against Castillo here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Pirates with a 2-run lead. Pirates are running the first. Reds tied it on a Suarez home run in the 2nd. Solo home runs by Moran in the 3rd. Diaz in the 4th. Meadows and knocking to left field his 2nd hit. Boy, what a good-looking young player. Hasn't even been here a full month yet.
And he's got a very efficient swing, Austin Meadows does. I mean, gets his foot down. It's a very small little leg lift right there. It almost kind of reminds you a little bit of Joey Votto in as much as he only moves it forward about 2 inches. Keeps his head back, his hands back, and if I was Austin Meadows, I would be over there asking for a little Votto critique.
Well, the way things are going today, Votto might be asking Meadows for a little Austin critique. Meadows has a double and a single. Joey 0 for 2.
And both hits for Meadows have been to left field. It's funny, Tom. There's so many different types of strategies you employ as a hitter or a pitcher to try to get the job done. And nowadays it's very trendy to try to lift the ball, get the ball into the air and so on. So pitchers that have a little bit of, which means you have a little bit of an uppercut. So pitchers that have a little mustard on the ball, like Castillo, trying to pitch upstairs to combat that because that's a hard pitch to uppercut. But if you get a guy like Meadows who hits the ball the other way, that high pitch is a lot easier to hit opposite field than is the low pitch. I always remember Kevin Mitchell saying, I never try to pull a high pitch. Never. And those little sayings like that can really resonate with a player, and carry him through a certain amount of time until there's time to move on to the next little motto.
Meadows running on the pitch, so the play will have to be at first. And they get Marte. Meadows in a scoring position. First out here in the 5th. Well, Kevin Mitchell could hit. He could really hit.
He made the best bare hand grab I think I've ever seen an outfielder make.
Oh, yeah. Tough dude.
A gamer and a good teammate.
We used to see him from time to time when we go out to San Diego. Did you guys see him the last time out?
Have not seen him for a while.
Hope he's doing all right. Great smile. Here's Moran, who hit a long home run to straightaway center field in the 3rd inning after drawing a walk in the 1st. Moran now 6 home runs, 27 runs batted in.
Well, that's a good combination of pitches right there for Castillo. First a fastball in the mid-90s down right around the knees, and then same arm slot. Takes about 12 miles an hour off the pitch and feathers right on the outside corner. But if you get that good of a swing on him, Moran had a pretty good swing on that pitch. You might be time to buy yourself a little bit of that outside corner. Come right up underneath his elbows here.
That ball is hit hard to center field, but steps short of the warning track. Billy Hamilton will get it. April 26, 1989, playing for the New York Mets. Or no, the Giants, I'm sorry. Before he went to the Mets. Look at that.
One of the best ever.
Yep. Mitch. That's when he was in tip-top physical condition.
Yeah. All those Giants players.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. That was, they had about a 15, 20-year run there where they had some real characters playing out there for the Giants. Fly ball to right center field, and Shebler's there, and the inning is over. And the 5-3-1 Pittsburgh. Fifty runs batted in now for Suarez, second most in the league. But then Moran broke the tie with a home run to straightaway center in the third. And Diaz would add a solo home run in the Pittsburgh fourth inning, and now you're up to speed. Reds have Suarez, Winker, Peraza against Ivan Nova, who's given up 4 hits, 1 run, the solo home run to Suarez. The Eugenio hit the ball very hard his last time up, a line drive caught by the center fielder Marte. Understand Jeff Piccolo is standing by. Bring you up to speed on some of the other happenings around baseball today. Yankees got another win. Man, oh, what a roll they are on. Beating Tampa Bay in the Bronx 4-1. The Yankees are 46-20. And that's not even good enough for a lead in your own division. They're in a tie with the Boston Red Sox. 46 wins, the most in baseball for New York, along with Houston. But the Yankees have played 5 fewer games, thus 5 fewer losses. All right, well, speaking of Jeff Piccolo, he's standing by right now. High pick. pick. I know you guys will be sliding right out of the studio after Reds Live tonight, going about 5 blocks down the road, and should be getting there right about the time Sam Hunt is wrapping things up in front of Luke Bryan at Great American Ballpark tonight. It's a big league show. And naturally, Pecoro and all his rich friends over in the Commonwealth did not come through for us, Chris, to come pick us up, to take us back.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have to only hear about that show.
That's right. Base hit right field by Winker, his second hit of the game. And
well played out there in the outfield by Austin Meadows. Winker had a notion of going to a double right here. The Meadows got that ball right off the wall and fired it right back in.
Popped up right center off the bat of Peraza, and that'll be Marte for the second out of the inning. Now the Reds are going to send up a pinch hitter for Castillo. A 5-inning outing for Castillo, gives up 3 runs. Allows 6 base hits, only 2 strikeouts today, along with 2 walks. So Duvall with a 1-0 count. He's a tying run at the plate, and we know he's more than capable of tying this game up with one hearty crack at the bat. Despite all his offensive struggles so far this year from a batting average standpoint, the home runs and the run production have still been pretty good for Adam Duvall. 11 home runs, 38 batted in. He also has 10 doubles. In fact, there are only 2 players on the Reds team that have more extra base hits than Duvall does, and that would be, of course, Jeanette and Suarez. That's a very interesting note there when you think about, Great American Ballpark being one of the great hitters ballparks in all of baseball, that the overwhelming majority of damage in terms of run production for Duvall has come away from Cincinnati. And he draws a walk. So Billy Hamilton will bat. 3rd walk issued today, one intentionally by Nova. Hamilton has struck out and bounced out to Bell at first base, leaving the bases loaded in the 4th inning.
This could be one of those game-changing situations right here. A couple of runners on base. The Reds haven't really had a chance to mount a lot against Nova. They've had their chances, but they've not been able to take advantage of it. I mean, it's up to Billy right here to kind of keep the line moving and try to turn the lineup over and get Schebler up.
Well, Jim Riggleman was really upset with his team's inability to break through last night. They stranded 9 runners in the first 6 innings, and they would only get 1 hit, stranding 1 runner over the last 3. And this ball weakly popped up, and this will end the inning. Reds have stranded 8 trail by 2. Country singer Jake Owen will be performing a live concert from the field Saturday, August the 11th. So if you have a ticket to the Reds game, you get to stick around to see one of country music's hottest acts right now. Purchase your tickets now at Reds.com. Cowboy was talking about Jake Owen and about that concert coming over the ballpark today. Looks like the day is over for Nova. 6 innings. Allows 5 hits and a run. Good outing for him. Second game back since coming off the DL. And now pitching for the Reds, replacing Castillo, is right-hander Austin Bryce. First pitch swinging. That ball mauled into right center field off the bat of Bell. He's coming for second. And he's in there safely. Neither the shortstop nor the second baseman was on the bag. It wouldn't have mattered. Unless Hamilton was waiting to throw the ball because nobody was there.
They've been waiting for Josh Bell to come around a little bit. He's a very good hitting prospect. He's just in the bottom of a little bit of a slump right now. That ball cut off by Billy, and the throw comes all the way in. And I'm wondering if maybe there was somebody standing on the bag. It may have made a difference. Probably not.
Bell, for a big man, runs very well.
Yeah, he does. See if Diaz can get him over.
Elias Diaz hit a home run his last time up, and he looks at strike 1. Slow roller. Generally, that's not one that will get the runner over, but hits so weakly that no chance for Peraza to throw to third.
Well, if you read it quickly and commit right off the bat, then you'll be able to make the third base. So Josh Bell helps out Diaz by moving over to third base, and there he is 90 feet away.
Mercer has walked and grounded out to Peraza. The Reds are going to be aggressive here on defense. They'll bring the infield in. They're already trailing by 2 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And they're going to intentionally walk Mercer, and they had already made the decision, did Clint Hurdle, that Nova was out of the game, so David Freese will come up and pinch hit. Former postseason hero for the St. Louis Cardinals, where he was a league championship series and a World Series most valuable player in the same year. That thrilling 7-game World Series victory for the Cardinals over the Rangers. Bryce starts out free, strike one. To the right side, it will roll into right field, a hit. Throw going into third, no chance there. And a pinch hit run scoring single by Freese makes it a 4-1 Pittsburgh lead.
Boy, is that a good bit of hitting by David Freese right there. More room on the right side than there is on the left side. You know, he's telling himself, hang in there, because Austin Bryce throws that low 3/4 arm pitch. And after coming inside with a fastball, he's probably betting on something else. And he got a ball that he could just muscle into right field there.
Second baseman, Josh Harrison.
You know, the difference really between the Pirates here today and the Reds is that the Pirates are continuing to play a little bit of add-on. I think you referred to that earlier, Tom, about the frustration level for Jim Riggleman to see his offense basically go to sleep in the middle innings. And when you finally feel like your backs are against the wall, you're facing the best pitchers out of the bullpen, and the numbers 8 and 9. You know, interim manager or not, you know, whether you're in contention or not, or out the way the Reds have been playing, you know, Jim Riggleman is still agonizing over every game, win and loss.
Look, this guy wants his job. I mean, make no bones about it. He would like to have the chance to start 2019 removing that interim tag from manager of the Reds. He's done a good job.
Yeah, and it doesn't always show up in wins and losses, because, you know, you come in as a manager where you're taking over the same personnel that the guy that just got fired had. So there's a reason the other guy got run, and it's probably because your team didn't play well, not because any one thing the manager did to get himself, you know, released.
This will be a wild pitch and a throw to the plate, and I think they got him. Yes, hanging on to the ball was Bryce. And cut down at the plate is Mercer.
I'll tell you, that was a nice play by Tucker Barnhart right there. And Bryce, I mean, you know, you're always kind of concerned about covering home plate right there. You're going to get there the same ball, the same time as the ball, the cleats coming in.
So it remains a 3-run ball game, and the count is 2 balls and a strike on Harrison. His 4th trip to the plate. We're in the 6th inning.
Watch his front left foot. I mean, he starts a little bit open. We get a really good shot of this from the center field camera, and he starts it open. But then by the time that he finishes and puts his foot down, it'll be over in this area right here. Really closes up nicely. Now, if you're going to do that as a hitter, you must be able to pull your hands in very quickly on a pitch, a fastball that's on the inner part of the plate. And Harrison's very quick inside. See if he changes his approach here with 2 strikes on him.
Harrison, a 2-time All-Star, win in 2014, win again last year. Fastball up and away from him there, fouled off. Powerfully built is Josh Harrison. Strong, strong kid. In the air, deep left center field. And that one is out of here. So 3-1 has turned into a 6-1 game in this 3-run Buccos 6th inning.
You know, I've probably said it a million times that you just can't pitch short batters up in the zone or even up and out of the zone. For the most part, they just kill that pitch. Harrison is listed at 5'8". I don't even know if he's that tall, but boy, he is powerful. If you give him a pitch up around the letters, that is just right in his swing path.
You were just saying that. This ball in the air to left center field off the bat of Meadows, and Hamilton has it. And the inning comes to an end, but the Pirates score 3 and lead by 5.
Day in baseball, telling some stories, and we really look forward to that because baseball is one of those games, whether it's father and son, father and daughter, it evokes many memories, and those two will go down memory lane tomorrow.
It's really not all that good. I appreciate you being so kind, but it really isn't.
Chris Welsh as well.
Yeah, Chris has some good ones now. He has a great story
about
playing for his father in CYO baseball many years ago.
That's enough many's.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
Maybe one too many.
But many. Stephen Brault We've seen him used as a starter against the Reds. First pitch swinging, a fly ball off the bat of Shepler, and that makes it easy for Brault.
A lot of first pitch swinging on the part of the Reds, just taking into consideration last inning. After Jesse Winker had a single to right field, Peraza jumped on the first pitch he saw. Fly ball, weak fly ball opposite field, and then Adam Duvall came up and walked, and Hamilton ended the inning on a weak fly ball opposite field on the first pitch he saw. And now Shepler makes the first pitch out.
Brault has done a pretty good job. Now, he gave up 3 runs his last outing, and that really inflated his ERA, you know, working out of the bullpen. I mean, that thing was right at 2.5 with 4 wins in his first 12 relief appearances. Jim Day, were you trying to add something there? I thought I overheard your voice. Jim Day, are you there?
No, Tom? All good.
Well, did I not just hear your voice?
You did. I didn't think the mic was open.
That must be going around.
No comment on that one either.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I just said it must be going around.
Oh, okay.
Here's a pitch and a line drive into center field. Stays up there long enough. Barnhart for the second out of the inning.
I'll tell you what's remarkable about this ball game, at least from the Pirates pitching standpoint and the Reds hitting standpoint, is that there have only been 3 ground balls in this entire game so far by the Reds offense. I mean, just about everything has been hit in the air. It's only been 3 strikeouts. All of those, of course, by Nova.
And Votto gets jammed with a pitch. And a slow roller to the right side. A 1-2-3 and a quick 1-2-3 7th for Brault. All right, next one's coming up this coming Friday night. Cubs in town. You can be there as low as $12, and we have the spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. For tickets, visit Reds.com. All Pirates so far here today, and the Reds going to make some changes in the field. Shepler's out, part of a double switch with Brannad Dixon going into right field. And now on the pitch will be Dylan Floro. He's having a good year.
Floro's been good. He has had, this is his 3rd year in the major leagues, and each one of those seasons has been with a different team. Broke in with the Rays 2016, pitching 12 games there, all out of the bullpen. Last year, 3 games with the Chicago Cubs. That did not go well, and that's when the Reds were able to pick him up, and now in for the 18th game and a nice tidy earned run average down in the low 3s.
And of course, it was a very, very special moment for Floro when you mentioned he only got the 3 games with the Cubbies last year. He picked up his first major league win against the Cubs this year wearing a Reds uniform. I would imagine with the Pirates, we're going to see them do with Brault what the Reds did with Lorenzen last night. They'll probably let him go. He's been a starter already this year for this team. With a 5-run lead, they may let him just try to carry it the rest of the way and get a 3-inning save. Weak ground ball to the shortstop. Marte really busting it up the line there. Boy, I tell you what, seeing it more and more. I mean, oh. Gonna check in here with Jim Day with more on Dylan Floro. How about it, Jimbo?
Well, he's mostly a quiet guy in the clubhouse, and I was surprised when Jared Hughes calls him the Florosopher, because he's always dropping some motivational sayings on people. And Jared Hughes writes these in a journal that he keeps, which we'll talk about more. You'll see an interview coming up on future Reds Live and a future in-game hit on this journal, old school style, that Jared Hughes keeps, but the Florosopher.
That's a great little nickname. Just wish it wasn't so hard to pronounce.
I'm looking forward to seeing that piece at Jim Day. You know, he's got to be, you know, really, really close with Jared Hughes, who's one of the most likable people I think that has ever played baseball. I don't know if there is a nicer person that I've ever met in the game than Jared Hughes. I mean, this guy is just a really good dude, and Jim Day has become quite fond of him. And they got to talking about that journal, and he was telling me about it the other day. Jared Hughes was, because remember the other night when he came into the game and he walked the batter, which brought the tying run to the plate, and he was throwing 2-2 slider, that kind of thing. And I walked up to him. I said, you know, I got to tell you, and I got to ask you. I said, just so you don't hear it from somebody else, you hear it from me. I said, I got on you pretty good the other night about that walk. He said, you should have. He said, I'm so mad at myself I can't see straight. He said, I wrote it over and over and over and over again in my journal after the game. And that was the first I'd heard about the journal. And he said, how in the world am I throwing 2-2 sliders to anybody with a sinker that I have? Come after the guy. If he hits a home run, he said, so what? We're still ahead by a run. He was really upset about that walk. And it forced the Reds to bring in Iglesias. Wasn't that the game, or did he end up getting the final out? I'm trying to remember. No, they had to bring in Wandy Peralta to get the final out in that 8th inning. And then Iglesias went the 9th.
Yeah, there have been a lot of guys along the years that have kept journals. Most of them have kept it kind of quiet and to themselves. You know, they're almost embarrassed that they do it. But Hughes, on the other hand, is a guy that will talk to anybody about that. And I mean, he is all the time writing something in it.
Hooked into right field off the bat of Dickerson. He's coming for second. Here comes a throw by Dixon. And not going to be in time. That'll be a 2-out double for Dickerson.
Well, you don't get the double there unless you think about it right out of the batter's box. Because that was played very well by Shebler.
Josh Bell 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the 6th. Pirates a 6-1 lead here in the last of the 7th. Votto makes a play from his knees, feeds Flora for the final out of the inning. And hey, listen, I've just been told Jim Day's going to give us a sneak preview of that journal for Jared Hughes. So don't go anywhere. Jim Day coming up.
Teammates are full of like interesting pieces of information or actually motivational quotes that you don't really know you're talking about it at the time, but at the end of the day it's like, whoa, that was really inspirational, thank you for that. Sometimes I'll write down pointers on my mechanics, so I'll go back in the old ones and be like, what was I doing when things were going well, and I can look up what I was doing when things were going well and kind of go back to it.
And the aforementioned journal there, and it's old school. There's nothing electronic about that. It's old school pen and paper, and he not only writes that, but he'll write his schedule for the day. I mean, down to the detail. 6 o'clock, wake up, jog, eat lunch, go to the ballpark, work out, bullpen. But the most important one, he reminds himself to call his wife each and every day. And
he writes that down in the journal.
He has a time set aside to call his wife.
Good for him.
And by far, I told him, that's the most important one.
Well, I think he already knows that. An easy ground ball out back to Stephen Brault. The left-hander takes over again for the 2nd inning in a row, and he's retired Scooter Gennett to start the 8th. Brault originally drafted by the Orioles, 11th round, 2013. Grew up in El Cajon, California, a suburb of San Diego. Ended up going to Regis University, which is in the Denver area. Traded over from the Orioles to the Pirates in 2015. And now Suarez, who has accounted for really the only offense the Reds have been able to do this ball game, with a home run in the 2nd inning. Brault not overpowering. He's a guy that has started 5 games. He's in his 19th already, but the starting rotation, no options right now for him. So he'll pitch out of the bullpen until further notice.
2-1 on Suarez is a roller foul.
Step up to GMC with nearly $4,000 purchase cash on an Acadia Denali when you finance through GM Financial.
Brault has retired all 4 batters he's faced since replacing Nova in the 7th inning. I don't know about you, but what little we've seen, I think there's a lot to like about Brault. He's got a little more giddy up on the fastball than you think. He's got a good combination of off-speed stuff.
I get the feeling that the Reds have seen him at his best. You know, if you really start looking at the numbers, he walks way too many batters. He's about 5 walks per 9 innings, and you know, he's still a young kid. I think he's only 26 years old. Brault is.
He's had really good numbers as a starting pitcher in the minor leagues. Really, really good. Now, whether or not he'll get another opportunity for this Pirate team remains to be seen.
Now, you know, checking the numbers that Brault has put up against the Reds, I mean, this year he's 2-0 and an earned run average of 1.2 in 7 innings pitched. So we have definitely seen the best of Brault.
Another lengthy at bat for Suarez, and again a 3-2, and we'll do it again. This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat coming up. And he missed trying to come in with a fastball. So it's a 1-out walk. First base runner against Brault, and now he'll turn his attention to Jesse Winker.
Left fielder, Jesse Winker.
Winker against left-handed pitching this year is a 189 batter. 7 hits in 37 at bats. Strike 1.
Yeah, and Winker's a guy that prides himself. I know that personally he does anyway, in being able to hit lefties and righties. But it's been a tough year not only for Winker against southpaws, but also for Joey Votto. His averages dropped off considerably against left-handers this year.
In fact, for Votto, it's the lowest of his major league career. We showed you those numbers last night, and that was prior to the at-bat he had against the left-hander Vasquez to end the game. Votto against the lefty so far this year is batting. Let's take a look. 195, so 6 points better than Winker. Reds with 1 on, 1 out here in the top of the 8th inning. Beginning to run out of outs. Trailing 6-1 in game 2 of this 3-game series. Road trip began with back-to-back wins in Kansas City. A tough loss here last night. And this was a tight one until the 6th. It was a 3-1 game. Pirates got 3 runs in that inning. Gone swinging is Winker. for a strikeout for both. 2 down in the inning.
Stephen Brault has about 6 different pitches if you include both of his fastballs, and he's got a cutter, a slider, and a curveball. So that was one of those 3, probably the curveball variety, to get Winker way out in front. Sporting some serious ink too.
Well, he fancies himself as quite the musician. Apparently he plays in a band during the offseason in his hometown of San Diego. They're a San Diego based band, the Street Gypsies. It's a big league name.
Sure is. What kind of music do they play? Does it say?
It does not say.
I'd be curious if he ever does come to bat. Does he have his own music as his walk-up music?
Well, he should, and he ought to go to somebody in the Pirates scoreboard, and they do a nice job in there with their music and the different things they put up on the board that, you know, maybe they ought to put the band's, I don't know, website or that kind of thing.
There's the changeup.
I'm telling you, there's. I think there's some things to like about this guy. I mean, he has had some incredible minor league seasons. Last year at Indianapolis, he went 10-5 in 21 starts with a 1.9 ERA. He's had minor league seasons where the ERA was 2.1, 0.5, 2.09, and he's only allowed 1 base runner through 2 innings today. All begins at 10 a.m. on your local Fox station. That's channel 19 back on the home front, where you can stream it live on Fox Sports Go. And the leaderboard, Dustin Johnson, +5 today. He went into the 3rd round at -4. the ground to the second baseman. And Jeanette makes a play throwing out Diaz to start the inning.
Shortstop, Joey Mercer.
In there, a strike to Mercer. Floro beginning his second inning of work. Polanco is in the on-deck circle. Not in the lineup today. Replaced by Austin Meadows out in right. There are a lot of Pirate fans that like to see that permanently made.
Yeah, that means the Pirates would have to eat a little bit of money and eat a little bit of crow, which is often the case with a ball club that, you know, rewards a young player who they feel is going to be a foundation to the franchise with a big contract going forward, only to find out somebody coming along in the system might be just a little bit better.
And that's exactly what the Reds did, of course, with Eugenio Suarez. They were under no situation where they had to give him a lengthy contract. They had a couple of more years arbitration eligible. They decided to give Suarez, who universally is so well liked and so highly thought of and so committed to being a better player, and the Reds thought a 7-year contract for him was a good one. It's a very favorable team contract. At strike 3 on Mercer. He thought it was ball 4.
Right on the knees, this pitch was. Right on the corner, too, number 6. Too close to take, Jordy.
So Gregory Polanco will bat.
2 innings, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
2 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout for Mr. Brault, so he will not go the final 3. Of course, it doesn't matter what the score is if a pitcher pitches the final 3 innings of a game, of course, in which his team wins, he earns a save. Not in the cards for Brault. That we would have found out if he had the walk-up music.
We'll have to come back again.
Maybe as soon as tomorrow.
Well, if they're not going to let him hit here at a 6-1 game in which he could pitch 1 more inning and get a save, where would you possibly use him to the point where you have walk-up music unless he gets a start?
No doubt about it.
We have to talk to Clint Hurdle about that.
I'm sure he'll be down there waiting for us. Hurdle has become a fixture here in Pittsburgh. And you get a lot more rope when you're the guy that comes in and the franchise hasn't had a winning season in 20 years. And you take them to the playoffs a couple of times. You can do that. Been the manager here since November of 2010, so the 11 season. His first year as a manager. It's his 44th overall year in professional baseball.
What the Pirates have done very well this year is play interleague play about as well as any National League team out there. They have won 10 and lost 2. So they're 4-0 against the White Sox, done with the Sox. They're 5-1 against Detroit. And they have Kansas City coming into town, I think, very shortly.
Popped up. Long run for Suarez, and he will get there in time to end the inning. So good couple of innings of work out of Floro. No runs allowed. Reds will bat in the ninth, trailing 6-1. We'll be checking in with you shortly. Reds are open. It'll be a little while for a big rally here in the ninth against a new pitcher, Michael Feliz.
He was the other part of that trade that sent Garrett Cole to the Houston Astros back in January of this year. Colin Moran, the third baseman, was the big part of that, and Feliz the other part.
Brannad Dixon getting his first at bat of the game. Lifts a fly ball into the corner, and it's out of play. Dixon to be followed here in the Reds' ninth inning by Billy Hamilton, and then Scott, the pitcher spot of a pinch hitter.
Now, Feliz came over here from the Houston Astros with a win-loss record as a reliever. Now, he never started a game over there, but at a win-loss record of 12 wins against 3 losses, which is what happens when you play for a team like the Astros that really score a lot of runs and win games. In middle relief, you could come in, your starter's getting beat up a little bit before the game gets out of hand. You hold the other team down and your team scores a few runs. All of a sudden you pick up a couple of wins. 8-1 as a 23-year-old a couple of years ago, and 4-2 last year.
Brewers are trailing their game to Philadelphia 4-1. This ball is crushed into left field off the bat of Brannad Dixon, and there it goes. First major league home run for Brannad Dixon. How about that? Congratulations, young man. A moment he will never forget as he puts that right foot on home plate. We saw a lot of that in Arizona.
You know, that's one reason why he's up here right now, because what he did in Arizona.
Well, what a great moment for Brannad Dixon. Jim Day, you may remember, was with his mom and dad in the stands when Dixon was brought up from AAA Louisville. They flew all the way in from California. Come on, you're allowed to smile. I know your team's getting beat. He's going to walk away from everybody. And it was starting one there. It's a foul ball.
Jumping on a high fastball.
Two and two on Billy Hamilton. Strike three called. Billy didn't like it. Kurt Casale going to be the pinch hitter for Dylan Floro. 2 innings for Dylan. Allowed 1 hit, 1 strikeout, no walks, no runs. Casale in limited duty has really hit the ball hard. 14 at bats, 6 hits, a home run, 2 doubles, 2 runs batted in. He had another chance at a double. Remember the play that was made by Alex Gordon the other night when Gordon threw him out at second base, making a great play on a ball that was smashed off the left field wall. Reds down to their final out. So now the Pirates, who had not won back-to-back games in 4 weeks, are trying to make it back-to-back-to-back wins. The last time they won 3 games in a row, you've got to go back to when they hit their high water mark of the year, when they went to 26-17, all the way back on May the 17th. So nearly a month since they won 3 in a row. Into center field, a base hit for Tucker Barnard.
First baseman, Joey Votto.
Votto the batter, 0 for 3. Drew a walk in the first inning. Strike 2.
Yeah, Joey Votto right now hovering that 300 mark. A hit here and he sleeps with a 300 batting average. If not, he'll come back and work on it tomorrow.
No balls and 2 strikes. Crowd of almost 28,000 collectively on its feet in anticipation of the final out. Feliz thought that was it. And that is a fair ball. And Votto will be tagged out by the catcher from behind. 6-2 the final.